Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Damp Sam's vlog. I'm calling it a vlog now. So this is where I just comment on things that come into me inbox. And I've had a thing come through, an email come through from the Gloucestershire Live news bulletin thing. And the headline is, "Father and son cough guts up each morning due to damp and mould." And you know, I shouldn't laugh, but I was just, it just seems a comical headline. Father and son cough guts up. And I'm gonna talk you through this news piece because it's quite relevant. And I'm going to comment on it in a kind of tongue-in-cheek style, because that's my sense of humour. So bear with me. It's I'm going to kind of build a picture of the couple, and but then I'm going to comment on it. So there's a picture of her here, like young lass. Right. So this is what's happened. They've gone to papers. And rightly so, because they think that there's no other course of action. And I think solicitors will probably be next. So it says the family moved into their home 4 years ago, and they say they have had problems with the property ever since. The father is sick to death of his family waking up each morning, coughing their guts up because the damp and mould in their property is so bad. And I'm smiling because it's just it just seems a funny headline. And I know they will be coughing their guts up, but here we go. So just listen to this bit. Tony Stevenson, 35, from Matson, moved into his home 4 years ago with partner Anna Yates, 21, and their 5-year-old son John. Now, I'm not one to judge, but doing quick figures in my head. So Tony's got a 5-year-old son and he's 35. Had son around about when he was 30. Anne is 21. Take 5 years off. She's 16. Was she 15? Not for me to judge, but you're getting the gist from this. If my 16-year-old lass came home with a 30-year-old lad, I might have something to say about it. Just saying. But anyway, that's by the by. So Mr. Stevenson says the worst affected areas in the home are the bedrooms. And Mr. Stevenson has described how condensation runs down the walls and takes the paint with it. It can happen it can happen if walls are really cold inside your property and you've got a lack of adequate ventilation. Condensation will form on the coldest surfaces. His landlord, housing provider, Gloucester, I can't say this. Gloucester City Homes says it takes condensation. That reminds me of that advert where they've got that American and he's trying to say Worcestershire. I'm at it now. Worcestershire. And any Americans, if they read that, it's funny watching them. I mean, it's hard enough for English to read it, but yeah, Worcestershire. His housing provider, Gloucester City Homes, says it takes condensation, damp, mould very seriously indeed. Mr. Stevenson says mould comes in through the bottom half of the wall every winter. It don't come through wall. It don't come through wall at all. It forms on the wall. The mould will form on the wall. and this is in the winter, we scrub it off with bleach all the time, but the mold just keeps coming back. The reason why it's coming back is because bleach is got ingredients that contains sodium. Sodium has salts, is salts. So you're putting salts on wall. So they are harsh to start with. They will take it off to start with, but you're leaving them salts from the bleach on the wall. And salts absorb moisture. They absorb moisture from the atmosphere. So it's going to come back quicker. That's what I'm going to say. I'm not going to go down things. I want to go through this story. So that you treat it with bleach, it's going to come back quicker. So scrub it with bleach. We call our landlord about it, and contractors came out to look at it. Paint some white stuff over it and go. I'm tipping that it is not really eloquent in English, because I'm reading this how they've wrote it down in the Gloucestershire Live. So I don't know whether it's like a court thing, you know, a legal action thing where they don't want to put out that he's not wrote, or whether they're just trying to make him out to look thick. Even though we have raised the problem with the landlord, they have been out twice in 4 years. So that's Mr. Stevenson's point of view. They've only been out twice in 4 years. He said the problem with the damp and mould are definitely from and external wall issue. These could be typos. It does say and external wall issues. It is freezing cold in the bedrooms compared to every other room in the house. So again, if you've got a cold room and you've got a humid atmosphere inside your property, because the air's not changing regular enough, so they've probably not had the windows open. It sounds like it's a flat and the concrete walls. So if they're staying inside a lot and doors not opening much, and it's cold outside, so they're not opening windows much, cooking, cleaning, washing and all that, then that moisture is just dispersing into air, and it's adding to humidity over and over again. And then it's going to condense onto cold surfaces, which is bedrooms, which are probably not used, and they probably don't heat them. The extractor fans do not work, and water runs down the walls. It takes the paint with it, even if we have the heating on 24/7. I don't think they'll probably have heating on 24/7, and they've probably got radiators turned off in bedroom, because it sounds to me like they're probably living on breadline. So people who's not got as much money are going to try and save on heating, especially with gas prices and electric prices, you know, how much they are. Everybody's got a right to live in a house that is damp free. This is why systems have been invented that are cheaper options than doing traditional methods, such as lime pointing, lime plastering, digging your ground levels down outside house, rerouting pipes and all that. We all understand that in an ideal world, that's how you should do it. You should, you know, make sure your house allows water vapour to go in and out. But it's not an ideal world. There's different construction methods. There's people's got different income. Some people can't afford it, some people can. So this is why all these systems have been brought out, to make damp remedial and preservation work accessible to everybody. Mr. Stevenson feels his landlord gave his family a shell to live in and do not want to know about the issues they are facing, which he claims also include cracks in the roof. Excuse me. He said it just seems We get the flat for 4 years and do not want to know. Yeah, I'm reading it. If there's a problem. My son has to go to bed with a duvet and 3 blankets every night so we can keep him warm. A contractor came out to look at the roof to check the insulation, and he said there were no problems. I went in the loft just after him and I could see daylight coming through the cracks in the roof. Now, I'll just say that if you can see daylight through tiles in roof or cracks, it's not a massive problem, unless it's a big hole like that and water's pouring through. It's not a big problem, because if you've got cracks and fissures in your roof, when you're producing humid air inside your property, which is below your roof, that will diffuse through your ceiling and materials and fabric, and it'll go up into your roof, where it'll disperse outwards and you'll get clean air coming into your roof space. It's a cold space, it's not a warm space, so they're designed to to allow this humid air to go out. You don't insulate inside your tiles or in between your spars unless you're converting your roof space. And like I said, if it is just a small drip, it's going to drip into insulation below as well, and then it only rains for like a day, and what will happen is once that insulation gets wet, it will dry out because you've got air coming in. So that's another way to look at any leaks in roofs and things like that. He said, I just want my boy warm. We all do. I can understand, you know what I mean? I can sympathise with him and empathise with him. You know, if out to his kids, we're protective, we want them to have the best life. We have been forking out money to decorate, but until this is sorted, I have given up, as I have got halfway through it. I don't understand that, but if you understand, put it in comments. Every morning, my son and I are coughing our guts up. There's another reference to coughing the guts up. The damp affects his lungs as he has to sleep in a room with mould spores, which are poisonous. I think there's one type of mould that's been accredited to deaths, not in England, in America, I think it is. Mould spores will aggravate underlying conditions rather than bring about a condition. There's not many deaths in England where on the death certificate it says due to mould, due to black mould, or due to, you know, things like that. Might be in America, I don't know, but it's very rare. What can happen is there's a condition what can affect people's lungs, but it's more to do with humidity. So this is what I'm going to get onto. It's the humidity in the air that will multiply viruses, mold, carpet mites, bed bugs. So when inside the properties humid, when humidity levels are high, all these things will multiply, and that's where your issues start, because you're getting more viruses. So kids are ill all the time. You're getting bed bugs and carpet mites, which are multiplying all the time, which can cause breathing issues, because people get with asthma and that. It can aggravate them conditions. So it's the humidity that is the issue, not so much the black mould. Even though the thing is, you can't see dust mites, you can't see bed bugs unless they're big. Can't see viruses, you can see black mould. So black mould always gets blamed. But black mould is a part of a humidity issue. So when he says his fans weren't working, lack of adequate ventilation. So straight away I'd be thinking lack of adequate ventilation. The family's landlord, Gloucestershire City Homes. I'm reading it and I'm seeing a C and it's a sh, isn't it, and not a k. So Gloucestershire Homes, City Homes, are aware of damp and mould issues. Families are Gloucester City Homes are aware of damp and mould issues. Is certain property. Whoever's wrote this must they must not know any grammar. It says damp and mould issues is certain properties and are looking to invest 5.5 million into counteracting the issues. I think somebody's wrote this in a hurry. They've speed typed it and then not checked it, not gone through it. What Gloucester City Homes says. Head of Assets and Development at Gloucester City Homes, Robert Panu, said at GCH, I think I'm going to start calling it GCH rather than trying to pronounce Gloucester. We are aware that some of our properties, especially non-traditional concrete homes, so that we get this concrete flat, which water vapour is going to take longer to go through walls if it's concrete. Suffer from issues with damp and mould, and we are trying to counteract this as much as possible by carrying out works to our homes, as well as providing advice and tips to customers about reducing and removing condensation, which is good. So if they have given them a leaflet, I mean, when I go and do my surveying, I've got a leaflet in, loads of leaflets in my bag that's from PCA. They've got all dry on them. We give them to customers, and they can see different tips and things for trying to keep the humidity down in the property. Most of them you probably won't use, but best thing is blue sky day like today, open windows for 10 minutes, let air change, shut them. Simple, cheap, effective. We have carried out 2 mould treatments at Miss Yates's and Mr. Stevenson's home. Oh, they're not married then. Since 2020, and have had specialists check the structure and the roof of their home, where no issues were identified other than needing add extra ceiling insulation. It does say add, not and. Needing add extra ceiling insulation, which we have done. We had an appointment arranged to check the mould and damp again 2 weeks ago, but were unable to gain access to carry out further inspections. Now this is a big problem. We rented accommodation, not being able to get access inside. So they will have appointments booked, and for whatever reasons, if they can't get in, probably if they're working for council, they'll be throwing sponges at the door. That's all we used to do. Well, I did throw a sponge at the door and nobody came, you know what I mean? I don't know what they were thinking. We did throw it hard, so 3 or 4 times, and there were nobody in. Yeah, council sponges for knocking on the door. But I'm not saying that. If they've gone early in the morning, and if they're not working, if they've gone first thing on a Monday morning at 8:30, they aren't getting up, are they? If kids not gone to school. We have not had a report of a broken boiler since August 2021, when our engineers attended a pre-booked appointment but were unable to gain access, so requested that the customer contacted us. If there were any further issues, to date, we have had no further communications from the customer, and we would encourage them to contact us to discuss and resolve any concerns or repairs or issues they may have. Now, my sort of warped thinking straight away, I'd be thinking, well, I think they've probably been in touch with a solicitor we being a big corporation, a big landlord, and they're probably looking at getting some money because there's no win, no fee solicitors that will take the cases up, and they'll probably offer them some money, especially if they've took photos and kids been ill. GCH takes condensation, damp and mould issues very seriously, and we are investing over 5.5 million in repairs and maintenance this year to ensure our homes meet decent home standard. Well, GCH, if you want to get in touch with me, I'll take some of that 5.5 million off you. Yeah, I'm not cheap, but I'll definitely come down if there's a golden handshake in it for me. We have recently reviewed our approach to condensation, damp and mould, and have issued stronger guidance to residents on ways to ventilate their homes and prevent the build-up of moisture. But I'm not being funny. It shouldn't be down to tenants to be doing their job. They should have adequate ventilation. I think adequate ventilation is going to be a start. And somebody should be telling them not to use bleach on walls for a start. That's one of the things. And only reason they've reviewed the approach was to do with ITV's documentary when they went to London and they went to that block of flats. And they were living in squalid conditions with water pouring through the roof. You know what I mean? I mean, whether this is a similar block of flats, I don't know. We also work with an independent technical expert where specialist works are required. Where tenants have any concerns or questions, we encourage them to contact us so we can investigate further. Right, so PCA have invented or designed a system that PCA surveyors have access to, and it involves taking data loggers or like a similar instrument to the property that's got issues in, and they're left in there for a period of time, and then they're took to PCA's office. PCA set a company up to do all research and everything, and I forget what they call it, but these instruments go there, and a report gets written, and it'll pinpoint exactly what the issue is and why they've got a problem. So these are simple solution out there to pinpoint what's happening. I mean, just with me reading that, I can see there's got a lack of adequate ventilation. They need to get fans fixed properly. They need some decent fans that's going to be low carbon and that's going to be continuously running. So that'd be my first protocol, and then maybe look at sort of putting a system up walls that might be a bit warmer. And these systems out there. There's a few companies that you can stick it's like a thin tile, like a foam tile, and you can stick that to the wall and then plaster over it. There's quite a few systems out there to warm internal wall up, so it can easily be done. It's just at what cost. So I think that was it. Yeah, that's end of the that's end of the video. I'm just wondering whether to show this picture. It's just a picture of Ms. Yates pointing at some black mould on wall. It looks like they've had something against it. So they've had something stored against it, either a bed or something like that. But it's the problem. It's the age-old problem of cleaning it with wrong product. So you want a product that's got an ingredient called benzalkonium in it. Now, a lot of supermarket sprays don't have benzalkonium in it. They've got sodium-based ingredients again. And if you try and have a look on them, the writing's that small that I think best thing to do is take a photo on it with your phone and then try and open it up to have a look at ingredients. But there's two products out there that I know that are good at clearing mould, but it's not addressing source issue, so it will always come back, but it might take a bit longer. So you've got fungicidal wash at Wix's, which is 12 quid for 4 litres. I've done a video about that before. And on back of that, when you turn it round, on back of that, it says in big letters, it's got benzalkonium in it, which is brilliant for Wix's. You know, when you're looking for what's in these washers and these sprays. And then the other one is I think it's Screwfix that does it, and it's a spray called No Nonsense. So yeah, I was going to say something about nonsense then, but no nonsense. And that's a good spray. We've used that before, and it shifts it straight away, and it does get a bit of time. And if you're going to paint with an anti-mold paint. If you're going to decorate, paint the area with an anti-mold paint. So you can get either an anti-mold paint that's already made up, crowned one that they've changed name. Crowns, it used to be called Stericryl, but they've changed it to something else now. I don't know what name, but if you go into Crown and ask for an anti-mold paint, they'll mix you one up and they'll do it in any colour that you want. They also sell additives that go into paint, so you can buy like a little, I don't know how many litres it is, how many fluid ounces it is, but it's a little vial like that, and you put it into your paint and stir it up. But I like to buy it already mixed up because you know it's been mixed properly inside in paint. And paint that on 2 coats, and that an anti-mold paint will hold it off for so long till you get your ventilation sorted out. And just bear in mind that it tends to happen in condensation season, which runs from end of September through to back end of April. So if you can hold off for that long by treating it, after that we start opening his windows and changing air in the room a bit more. So I think I've more or less covered everything there. But like most things I'm looking at this, you know, over winter is condensation issues. That's why we get people to send the pictures to me. I can tell what type of damp it is roughly by seeing patterns of damp, and when I see pictures, I can tell people what type of survey they want. Now, all our surveys are paid surveys, so if anybody's wanting a free report doing, we don't do them. I've paid, well, tens of thousands of pounds out to get this knowledge and you know, going on courses and things like that down to PCA. So we need to get this money back. If you're wanting an expert to come and, you know, diagnose your issues, then there's going to be a cost to it. And I suppose more knowledge experts got, more you're going to have to pay. But I do offer a free service really. If you just send me your pictures on WhatsApp or wherever, I will comment on them and point you in the right direction. And this is what I started doing these videos for, so I can give people information that they can use to make decisions for themselves. And you know, and they can get in touch with surveyors and contractors and things like that. And you might get somebody to come around for free who's very knowledgeable, and they might sort your problem out straight away, and they might do it right. There's a lot out there, and I'm not saying every unqualified contractor is bad and wrong and stuff like that just because they ain't got letters after the name. There's a lot out there who are well experienced, but I just find it hard to comprehend that people don't go on and sort of do these courses and you know and keep on top of all systems that are coming out, and you know and get qualified, because there's a lot of money to be earned in our industry, especially in preservation side. So if you get in contact with PCA, if you're young, or well, even if you're old and experienced, get in contact with PCA, have a look what courses they've got, get on some courses, become a member at PCA, and it'll open up a lot of avenues for you to do different types of work. So this is another thing that I do. I sort of bang on about trying to get people into our industry. You know, if you're a joiner, learn how to do timber treatments and things like that with PCA. You know, dry rot, wet rot, common furniture beetle, insect infestations. There's all that side of things. And then if you learn about damp, you can always get a plasterer in and point him in the right direction when you're doing damp work. So that opens up a specialist area for you, and because there's a shortage of specialists in our industry, prices are, you know, quite elevated. Plumbers, plasterers especially, you know, don't feel that you're not brainy enough to go and do a course on damp work and rendering. They'll learn you it all. It's all there. There's my videos to watch. There's loads of information on Google. You can read up on it. It's just a bit of learning. Get yourself qualified and earn more money. Why? Who don't want to earn more money? Hands up. We all want to earn more money, and that's crux at matter. But we need people to be qualified, and we need people to be doing job right, installing these systems correctly. Biggest failure that I see is where it's user error. So whoever's installed it have made a mistake, and you can normally pinpoint what it is if they've had some work done. So yeah, so this is my vlog on a Monday to just bring you up to speed about Tony and Anne. I mean, I'd love to know the story, because this city, she's pregnant at 16. Oh, dirty boy there. It's another world. It's another world. But anyway, who am I to judge? They shouldn't be living in squalor. It's like I was saying earlier on, everybody's got a right to live in a property that's damp free. And that's where we hang on. Not all superheroes wear capes. Some of them are bald and and they've got a thick Yorkshire accent and can't read or whatever. So enjoy the rest of your week. That's Damp Sam signing off, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm going to be putting quite a few more out. If I've given you some value, please subscribe. Please pass it on and share, because it might be a mate's house that's got black mould. Have a great time. Oh, do you know, I don't have to do that now. Look, I've got my clicker, whatever. See you later.